Welcome back to the Osikona Hour podcast. If you are new, welcome. If you are a repeat watcher, welcome back. You may have noticed that the background looks a little different. We are trying out a new setup, so hopefully you like it. We've also trying new lighting, which frankly I think is a lot better. I think it works with the pod a lot and it makes a lot more sense, I would say. But anyways, so hopefully that works. As you can tell, once again, we are doing a solo Dolo episode, but it's going to be a little more structured than our regular ones. Those tend to do a little bit better and kind of a little more well-rounded. But yeah, is there anything else I wanted to tell you? No. Okay, so in this week's episodes, we're going to be doing 3 segments, I should say. And, 4 segments split up pretty evenly, maybe probably like 20 or 30 minutes. But, yeah, so the first segment, I'll go over all of them, so then maybe you could skip to the one you like. I don't know. So I'm going to recap this past week, talk about some media that I have seen so far, a local spotlight, new segment, we're trying that out, and lastly, best for last, we're gonna be hearing a listener, a caller. We're gonna have someone calling in to and share a listener story from one of our listeners. There we go. Okay. So recap. So if you've been here a while, which shout out to the 33 subscribers, we've hit our first what's it called? Milestone. I have a little milestone chart that I've yet to share. Maybe I'll post it. It's kind of cute. But we've hit the first landmark milestone. So it's 30 and then 40. So we're really close. I think I don't know. Last time I checked it was 33. Probably still is. And then just need 7 more. Right? 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. But yeah. So who knows? Maybe after this episode we'll get there. Probably not though. But no. We will. Think positively, me. Okay, so recap of the past week. It's been like over 2 weeks, which I know I said in previous episodes that I was never going to do that again. But it was hard. And let me explain. This past week, I was sick. I was so sick because, as you know, it was Thanksgiving not too long ago. I didn't even go to the Thanksgiving dinner. And that's arguably one of the better dinners of the year to go to. Out of all of them, even I think Christmas is good too, but I fear Thanksgiving is a lot, in this point in my life, Thanksgiving is a much more important dinner for me to go to, and I missed it because I was so sick. And I'm kind of bad at that sort of thing. I'll still go to events when I'm not supposed to, even when I'm sick, but it was just so bad. It was awful. I had just come back from La Ciudad de Mexico, for a week. And I was fine. I mean, I was exhausted, but I was on my period throughout the whole time. And so I was just exhausted. And I think I pushed myself a little too far because when I come back from the plane, I caught something probably on the plane. My immune system just wasn't working or couldn't keep up with it because I was just so exhausted. So yeah, so I got sick right after that. And then it was right after and I was already exhausted. So then that was that. And then I thought, you know what, I could probably it's the first days of sickness and you could kind of still, you're not at the peak of your illness, so you can still kind of do stuff. But no, it was fucked. Whatever though. So that's that. And yeah, Mexico City was beautiful. La Ciudad de Mexico. I saw the ruins of Tenochtitlan, Chapultepec. And what's crazy, let me tell you a little story now that we're on the topic. So we went to, oh my God, I'm going to be so bad at this. Okay, so we went to the ruin, to the, oh my God, I forgot the name. Dude, this is so embarrassing. We went to the pyramids, Las Pirámides, whatever. We went to the pyramids. And I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, we went to these pyramids. Did you go when you were a kid? And he was like, yeah, I went. But when I went, only the peak was exposed. They hadn't dug out all the rest of the pyramid yet. And I was like, that's fucking crazy because it's only been 20, maybe less than 20 years that's happened. And I'm like, that's low-key insane. Okay, so so I'm at Mexico City, and like I know I've mentioned this I think in the first episode, but I'm really into roller skating, like park skating, and the whole point, because low key, like I see on Instagram like all these like baddies like going to traveling and taking their skates with them, and then they're fucking like going up bombing hills, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to be that so bad. And I'm like, I want to have that sort of like street skating experience in foreign countries, well, not too foreign, but like foreign countries. And I was like, I want to do that. Like that's like the kind of vibe that I want out of a trip. And I low key hate like packing my skates anywhere, but or in a plane because it was like it's so difficult. I mean airports are already fucking hell to begin with. I'm gonna get TSA pre-check. I swear to God. But whatever. So that was kind of stressful because I only take carry on. I don't check it back. Anyways, so I took the carry on, and it's like not that big of a deal. We go there, mind you. We skate one time throughout that whole trip. We were also there for like less than a week, so whatever. But the malls there are actually, and this will make sense in a little bit, but the malls there are crazy. And I live like, not to like dox myself, but um like yeah, I live like in the East Bay, and the malls here are like not good. Like I'm from San Jose, and the malls there are like way better. And so I just like grew up with a much like higher standard of malls, I guess. And so when I came here and when I moved here, I was like, oh my god, these malls fucking suck. Like there's nothing to fucking do. Like what am I gonna do on the weekends? Whatever, whatever. I go to Mexico. Bro, we go to a mall that's 3 stories tall. It's like indoor. Is it indoor or outdoor? Yeah. And it's kind of like if you've ever been to the Westfield Oak Ridge in San Jose, where they have a Target in there. It's kind of like that. They have their own supermarket. And that was also trippy. Like my favorite thing to do when I'm traveling is to go to the supermarkets and see what they're like, what they have. Like when I went to Portugal, I went to their supermarket, and like the bread there was crazy. Whatever. I'm not going to diverge into that. But um yeah, so okay. Sorry about that. So going back to the story. So it's a mall. So it's kind of like the Westfield Oak Ridge Mall, where there's a Target, and then so they have their own type of supermarket. I forgot what, and like I love going in just to like see, because it's kind of like a culture shock. Like you kind of get a feel for like what buy or what people want from their stores. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah, so we go, and it's really fun. They're open like till 11, which I think is true for like most fucking malls these days. Anyways, so it's 3 stories. The first story is like stores typically. The second story is like, I don't know. I didn't really go to the second story. Um, and the third story is there's a um a pool with like, it's just like, it's not a gym, it's like straight up just a pool, like that's all. It's like a huge pool, and then a gym that was like kind of nice, that was really nice actually. And then there was a skate park, an indoor skate park. And the thing is, like, and it had a foam pit, a kind of huge ramp that goes into the foam pit, and a mini bowl too. And like, oopsie, oop, sorry. Um, and the thing is, like, if you know about roller skating, you know that those are things are hard to come by. Like, unless you have a friend that knows somebody with like a skate park in their backyard, or can get invited to like the private skate parks that are around the Bay Area, like you're not getting in. And like I'm not like connected like that. And I'm also like, because I feel like people that I get invited to that sort of thing are like really good, and I'm not. And so and we're gonna insert a clip of the skate park right in like just a second. But like I don't like, I think that that's how you get invited to those circles, or you're just like, I don't know, a really good conversationalist or something. um but yeah, so yeah, insert clip of the skate park, insert both of them, I think. So you'll see the first one. And do be comment, if you do choose to comment. And the second one's much better. And I'll say this: let me plead my case before you see what I'm about to show you. At as of this moment, I have like two main pairs of skates. It's like, oh my god, I realize like nobody gives a fuck about what I'm saying, but I need to say this this will make sense in just a second. So I have two pairs of skates. One pair of skate is like thinner, not it feels like a sock, and it doesn't have a lot of ankle support, and that was my first skate. And then I got a new pair of skate that's very firm, that's complete opposite. And I wanted to take those originally, but like I couldn't break them in time. So it's like a paradox. Like imagine a paradox even firmer than a paradox on fucking wheels. And so I wasn't gonna take that, and they would be heavy as fuck for my carry on. They probably wouldn't even let me in with it. Who knows? So I took my first pair, and I hadn't skated those in hella long. And so I had already adjusted to the new pair, and I was like, okay, let me just take the old ones. Like I've had these for like I've skated them for like years now. Surely it'll be fine. And I've skated them recently, so I'm like, whatever. Bro, I drop in. I don't really warm up all that much. I just go in because it's like a mini bowl. Like who cares? Like I've done like bigger bowls and that are like much gnarlier than that. So I was like, surely I'll be fine. I go and I take the corner like I usually do. And hold up. I take the corner how I usually do, and something happened, dude. I don't know why. I put my heels or like my toes up, and it just kind of like I felt like someone pushed me, kind of. Obviously nobody did, but I felt like a sim. I felt like I've never played Sims in my life, but I know enough to know that like you're controlling the little figurines, and I felt like a little sim, and I felt like somebody kind of like pushed me or like knocked me off my shoes. Obviously that nothing like that happened. But yeah, so insert clip.
Oh.
But but yeah. But yeah, what you have to realize is that like it's low-key kind of fun even when you do fall. Like it's kind of like, especially with the wooden ramp. Like I didn't, when I first started skating, I didn't skate any wooden ramps. They were all like fucking like cement bowls, because that's all there is. I wasn't getting invited to fucking anything, which I doubt I'll ever will. But well, hopefully, fingers crossed. Think positive. But and so I was just getting beat the fuck up like when I was first skating. Mind you, I didn't have any knee pads. If you say that to any skater, they'll be like, "What the?" Or any roller skater, they'll be like, "What the fuck were you on?" And I was like, I just didn't want to spend. I've always been so cheap with certain things, dude. And so, like, I was just like, I don't like. I was like, I'm not gonna spend like $40 on just the knee pads, or no, not even. It would have been like $50 because I'd have to get them from like the hella nice brand. And I was like, not like I wasn't that good. I was just starting off, so I was like, let me just get the cheapy ones. But the cheapy ones, whatever. So I waited, and I really wanted to get better. I don't like being bad at stuff, and so I tried to get better really quickly, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I kept falling on my knees, and they were hella hinchadas. They were like super swollen, and so I was just getting fucked up. And so when I fall on wood bowls now, it's like whatever. I don't really care. And I wasn't wearing any knee pads. Oops, sorry, mom. I wasn't wearing any knee pads. When I was there, because I just didn't want to. It was, I don't know. They're restricting to me. Whatever. Okay. So I think, oh my God, I just forgot. So I feel like this is like local news, so whatever. Maybe even national, whatever. So recently, the school that I worked with, which I will not say for the to protect the innocents, but we went on strike. Yeah. Crazy. I didn't think we were gonna go. To be honest, I thought we was just gonna be like a game of chicken, low key. Could I say that? Yeah. Yeah, right? Okay. Like I thought it was gonna be like, yeah, well, like, because we were about it, like we weren't not going to, but I thought like at the end, because I heard things of like past occurrences from the veteran teachers being like, oh, this has happened before type shit. Like they'll like we'll reach an agreement like the day right before we were supposed to go on strike. And I was like, okay, cool, because mind you, it's the dead of fucking winter. Are we not in the dead of winter? Yes. Yeah, right. And I don't really have like I said, I grew up in San Jose, and it doesn't really get cold like terribly over there. And so I was like, I've just been so lazy about buying shit. Oopsie. I just like saving. Anyways, and so I didn't really have a good coat. And I was like, oh, I really didn't want to go on strike. I was like, bro, it's going to be so cold. And if you know about strikes And if you were listening during Hispanic Heritage Month or Latina Heritage Month, you would know that when you're striking, you're picketing. And what does that mean? That means you're walking in a circle, kind of, and then you're like chanting. Mind you, I'm sick, dude. This is throughout this whole time. And so it was just so awful, bro. It was kind of miserable. But it was nice. Like, it was like, obviously, like, kind of like, if you want a village, you have to be a villager type shit. And so I was like, we got to do it. And we did. We did it for like, what was it? I don't know. Don't ask me. But like a week, I think. I don't know. But it was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy. And there's some things that happened that I cannot say on camera. But it was low key crazy because like it was kind of like high emotional too. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, today was the first day back. And so I think it was cool. Yeah, now all that's left is like to vote either yes or no for the proposal. But so we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, quick outfit change. Hee he bundled up. But yeah, so that was crazy. So like I said, first day back, it was fine. My students were fine. But yeah, it's nice being back. It's honestly, it's much better than being fucking outside in the cold, bro. I was like, I realized low key, and I'll say this, like, I'm like, I need to low key, like, get my wardrobe up and, like, get a more, like, I hate describing it this way, but get a more, like, grown wardrobe because I don't have, like, a puffer jacket or anything like that. And, like, because, all of my other colleagues are older than me, and so they're all like I don't know, maybe is it like an age thing, or am I just not fucking, do I just need to invest in a puffer jacket? Maybe it's just me thing, but whatever. So it was just really cold with my little fucking hoodie in the in the picket line, but whatever. So that was fine. Oh, another thing, I'm gonna say this, I think that's fine. I'm like, who's gonna come for me? But whatever. No, actually I feel weird saying it, never mind, sorry. Um, okay, so that's the weekly recap. That was kind of all over the place, which is fine because this is my first week back, so give me some slack. Where were we? Talking about media of the week, or at least the past 2 weeks. So last couple of weeks, I've seen literally yesterday. I mean, the closest one I can remember is The Grinch. Ooh, I just remembered. So obviously The Grinch is fucking gas. Like, it still holds up. I watched it. I've watched like snippets of it every like throughout the years, but this is the first time I've watched it in its entirety in a really long time, and it's so good. I don't know if it's nostalgia, probably, but like I think it's amazing. Like I feel like I want to interview one of the actors that was there. That would be so fun because like it looks like a fun place to work because it's make believe land. Like, I don't know, whatever. That's all I'll say about that. I don't really have too much to say. But anyways, the other media of the week. This is kind of annoying because you have to have Apple TV to watch this, and like Apple TV kind of sucks because you can't share accounts with anybody because it's connected to the person's Apple ID, and so you can't log into someone's other Apple ID. The only way is really if you log into their thing on the TV. But like I can't watch it on my phone because I don't have the Apple TV account, which is fucked, but whatever. So that's kind of annoying and kind of like classist in that way. But yeah, so I've been watching the show, and I'm sure many of you have been watching the show too. It's from the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which I've watched neither of, but I've heard very good things. But it's Pluribus, and it's actually been like a really kind of sweet ride, I would say. And I'm just gonna say enough. Even if you haven't watched it, that you might still find this enjoyable type thing. But it's really nice in the way, because I love science fiction. I love science fiction. I loved Severance. I love fucking this one author that I forgot. I forgot. I'm not gonna be able to remember. But Ernest Cline. Love Ernest Cline. I've read all his books. But and this completely is science fiction. So for those that don't know, Pluribus is a story about this woman. It centers around this woman, but obviously more whatever. It's about this woman who is an author and she's kind of like a little insufferable and like miserable, but like she's supposed to be human, which I kind of like, which is nice and what I like out of the characters. But anyways, and suddenly the fucking world kind of goes crazy a little bit where people are infested with this sort of virus that take controls their body and creates and makes them part of a single hive mind. And our main character, fuck, Carol, remember that. Our main character, Carol, is immune to this virus. And it's crazy because it's like you see the first episode, and I think they do that thing that Severance did the same in the same way where you see the an episode but through different perspectives. I think they did that too, if I remember correctly. But yeah. And so it's cool because you see it from the perspective of Carol and you see it from the perspective of the hive mind, and you're like, and you don't know what goes on because you don't, because the viewer is Carol essentially, and she doesn't know what's going on. And then you see it from the hive mind, and that's very fun, always fun. But yeah, she's immune, and she finds out that there's only like 11 or 12 other people that are also immune. And then so she's navigating this, and like it's essentially, and she's the and she sorry, she connects with the other people. She says she tells the hive mind, like, connect me with these other individuals so we can form a plan to save all of humanity. She finds out, and this isn't, well, there's spoilers ahead, spoilers, so skip like 5 minutes ahead. She meets with all these other people that have yet to be infected, and she is the only one who's like enraged by all this. Everybody else is kind of like, this is kind of fine. Like, I kind of want to be part of the hive mind because I want to be with my family. And there's another character is like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I have 5-10 girlfriends now, and they're infatuated with me, and I'm in the presidential plane. And then the other people just don't really give a fuck, and they're fine. But yeah. And then there's other people that are kind of like delusional. She's like, there's one that's like her son, but it's obviously not her. Like, her son is alive, or the body of her son is alive, but he obviously isn't because he's part of the hive mind. So they're like playing pretend, whatever. The low-key pissed me off. But anyways, so what I found unrealistic about this show is that she was the only one that was like, we need to get these people back into their bodies, essentially. And everybody's like, no. And she's the only one, and she's the only one out of all of them that's like, yes, we do. Well, okay, I'll leave it there because technically she isn't, but that's later on in the season. So I won't talk about that because it's kind of, I don't know, recent. But yeah, and so I found that kind of annoying. I'm like, oh, she's the only one that has sense, our main character. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of found that like a little, I don't know, unrealistic. And like, why is like kind of like making her the main character, which obviously you want to have your main character be have main character energy, right? And so that makes sense why she would be the one that has the character with logic and reason and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of found that annoying. But whatever. So yeah, so that's been the media of the week, Pluribus and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I kind of want to see the animated version too. But yeah. Any other media that I've really enjoyed? I think that is it. I mean, I've just been watching Pluribus. I've watched like a lot of, like, I love watching movies, and so I'll just watch like little movies here and there from like the streaming platforms, but they're fucking ass. Like, it's kind of hard to find a good one. So maybe drop a recommendation for like any platform, and I'll get to it. That'd be cool. Okay, so we're at that. So we talked about past week, media. Ooh, local spotlight. And let me put y'all on. Or maybe, you might already know this exists. But, so, like I said, I live in the East Bay. And in the East Bay, there is a little a little city called Port Costa. And in this city, like, it's kind of like the Twilight Zone. And like no, and like, I don't say this with like any disrespect. Like it literally feels like the Twilight Zone in a very like endearing way, where the buildings are very old and like it's just like a small town vibe, and I think it's like really small. Let me see this. It's an unincorporated community. It's like population 190, bro. 13 miles. Yeah, or it's Port Costa. Yeah, it's really, really small. It's really, really small, and it's quaint. I don't really know what that means, but it seems effective in this. And like I said, it's like give Twilight Zones and the Twilight Zone vibe. But the first time I went, and it's also like a super windy road to get there. So if you get car sick, maybe not. Maybe don't go to this. But and yeah. So the first time I went, it was like after dark, and so it was like super spooky. And it was kind of nice. And it was during Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. And so there was it was like all the way like it was all the way like decorated too. So you go into this little town. It's like I think a street long. Like I said, the distance is 13 miles. And it's this bar. And in there, it's this really cold bar called the Warehouse Cafe. And I guess I haven't been there during the day, so they might be serving food, but so it's a bar. They have our little, I mean, I feel like every bar is doing arcade now, but like this is like it's like dive bar type of vibe. And so that's always cool when they have like little arcades. So they have like little pinball, and they have a thrift store inside the bar. It's like not open late, which kind of sucks, but I was like, whatever. And so when I went, I didn't get to see it, but I saw like I didn't get to go inside, but I did see the outside of it and it looked really cool. And then the decorations were crazy. They had a fucking like I don't know how I was gonna say animatronic. It's not animatronic. It's a taxidermied, yeah, a taxidermied polar bear and like other taxidermies animals. So if that's not your thing, maybe don't go there. But and like the drinks were really fun too, and it was just such a vibe. Like it was so like small town vibes. And like um I've been to Wisconsin on some like supper club, if y'all know what that is, and like on small town vibes, and that was like the closest thing I've been to. I've been to that, and it was really cool. And so, like I said, it's a warehouse cafe, and it's a bar, and I'm assuming cafe, and it's a thrift store, and there's pinball. So it's a cute date, I would say. But I want to go back. I haven't been there in a long time. So yeah, that's the local spotlight for the week. So I hope y'all can make it and take a gander there. Like I said, it is a very windy road to get there. So do be confident in your driving, and if you're drinking, do find a way safely home. But yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say about another business, but I'll leave that till next week. But yeah, cool. Ooh. Well, now we go on to our last segment of the night, which is going to be a much shorter episode, I fear, which is fine. Honestly, those tend to do better, which who knows? Maybe that has something to do with the terrible, what's it called? Attention span. I mean, not. I love long videos. I love like a 3-hour video, a 4-hour. Like I watched this podcast called Creepcast. Y'all might know it, but and it's awesome. Like it's whatever. You'll probably, if you know, you know. But and it's amazing because they'll do like super long videos. And the thing about me, like I love continuous stories, and so I can just put it in the background and just listen to it and just get work done. Like I'll make a whole new product. Which, speaking of products, how am I gonna? I almost forgot to plug myself in. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, and we're back. But yeah, speaking of products, Volume 1 is out, and it's been out. I don't know if I've shown y'all. And if you don't know, this is the Pico Pixie magazine. As I mentioned, Pico Pixie, we're in the Pico Pixie studio, and it's amazing. And I'm gonna do a little flip through so you can see that it's cool. But But yeah, so there's a lot of cool. I'll talk a little bit about the issues. So um, there's in volume one, there's interviews with artists, spotlights, skate trick of the month, of course, a crossword puzzle designed by yours truly, and a lot of other stuff. And also, volume two came out as well. And this one was the for the Halloween. I know it's like awful, but it's like you need to bear with me because I'm working with what I got. But yeah, so once again, interviews, things to do around the Bay every day of the week that are exclusive to that day, most of the time. For example, every Tuesday is Movie Tuesday at Cinemark. Every Wednesday is open mic night at a certain lounge. You'll just have to look at the magazine, and these are available digitally and physically on my website. And the online shop will be available very soon. But oh my god, yeah, of course, Skate Trick of the Month, and then confessionals. I was able to have people send in confessionals about their juiciest stories. Speaking of juicy stories, we have a juicy story from a listener, which we will feature in just a moment. And we will be, of course, and if you would like to send in a story, then you can look no further than my bio. You can send in, record a voicemail, which of course will be anonymized. And we will play it on the show. But yeah. So once again, if you want, we're about to listen to a story, but if you want to record or submit your own stories, submit a voicemail, DMs are always open, as well as my link in my bio. You can leave a voicemail, and of course we'll anonymize it. But yeah, okay. Are we ready? Let's begin.
Hello, long-time listener, first-time caller. I am going to tell a story of when I was working as an EMT at a private ambulance company. We only did, it's called inter-facility transport, so hospital to hospital or the occasional like 5150. Really basic stuff. So this was a couple of years ago. I had a call where we were going to take a pediatric patient, so under the age of 18. He was on a 5150 hold going to one of our local facilities. And we got there, and he was kind of like a chubby little guy. We pull up, and he's just kind of hanging out. I don't see any parents or anything, which is usually a red flag, because if you're a parent, I feel like usually you're going to hang out and want to check in on your kid and make sure he's okay, and offer some level of support. But there was nobody there. So we get the kid, and we're doing the basic stuff, being like, hey, like, I'm so-and-so. We're going to be taking you from here to here, asking some medical questions, like, have you thought about hurting yourself? Have you thought about hurting other people? And it's no's across the board. So I'm like, why is this kid on a 5150 hold? So we get into the back of the ambulance, and I'm the one who's in charge of providing care during transport for this call. And he is just kind of sitting silently. So I try to let him know, I'm like, hey man, I've been there before, like, you're not alone in this. And I ask him, like, hey, like, so what happened? Like, why are you on a 5150 right now? And he goes, man, I did something bad. So I'm like, what do you mean something bad? He's like, well, I snuck out with one of my friends, and we split a bottle of vodka together, and we were just kind of roaming around, and we found this church, and we knew that nobody was going to be in the church, so we decided to break in and we were just kind of taking fire extinguishers off the wall and spraying them and just like doing as much sort of destruction to the property as we could. and then we go from being in the church and we go out to this park, and we're just kind of laying in the park and we're talking, and he looks over to me. And we make eye contact and we just start making out like aggressively. And I never really thought about him in that way, but it just felt right in that moment. So then we go our different ways, and I get home and I see lights are on in the house and my parents are awake. So I come in and my mom is there on the sofa, and she's asking me like, what were you doing? And she can tell I'm drunk, and I tell her basically everything that happened. And we're kind of like a religious family, so my mom is more upset that I had a gay experience than anything else that happened in the evening. So she's freaking out. And because of how she was treating me, I tell her, well, I'm gonna go fucking kill myself. So I go into the kitchen and I put a knife up against my chest and I say, well, I'm gonna fall forward onto this thing. And so she called the police, and the police came, and that's why I'm on a 5150 right now. And so I was like, damn, that's not what I was expecting. Like at the beginning of the story, I was thinking, oh, maybe they got like arrested or something because they were vandalizing this church. The gay experience took me by surprise for sure. I mean, I'm sure some people could probably predict it, but for me as a straight man, I never would have expected that. So I tell him like, oh, damn, like that really sucks. Do you like music? So he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, like what? We can play any song you want right now. Like what do you want to listen to? And he was like, oh, I want to listen to Steve Lacy. So we listened to, what's that song by Steve Lacy that was really popular? What? Dark Red. So we listened to Dark Red like 4 times back to back on the way to the psychiatric facility. And the entire time he had his eyes closed and was like swaying, singing the lyrics the entire time. But yeah, that's my story.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Because, oh my God. Because the thing is, like, I wasn't thinking that he would tell you like the full story, like with such detail. like especially the part where he's like, yeah, we are turned and we locked eyes. And I was like, I don't know if I've ever told a story that personal with that amount of detail. But I think when you're like in a high stress, like sort of environment, you're like, whatever, who cares? Mind you, they've already told their mom, so it was like, who the fuck cares? Oh my God. That's wild. That's wild. I hope they're okay. I mean, they were fine, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, mentally they were going through something, but like physically they were fine and nothing. Yeah, they didn't like take a bunch of pills or anything. Thank goodness. So that could be pretty dangerous. That's wild. So, praying for that little fella, hopefully finding love in a much safer manner. Also, the crazy part, like going to the church, oh, because it's religious trauma. I just realized that that's probably what that was. Like they were like, because they mentioned that like their parents are really religious, and obviously, and like the part where he said like, oh, I never saw him that type of way. Like, you know, you don't one day like it's not an instant where you're like, oh, I'm attracted to this person immediately. I don't know, maybe not, but obviously those feelings might have been there, maybe not to that capacity, but that seems like a response to religious trauma. Whatever, I'm not a fucking psychologist, but yeah, because when I think of like vandalizing, you do that to things that like kind of frustrate you or things that you see, you know. So why would you go to church? It was just always around, but um yeah, especially the vandalization part. That's always interesting because behaviors, as I've learned as a teacher, behaviors are always a form of communication. Anything that like a student does or like a young person does is always a form of communication. And I would say that with everybody too. A behavior is always a form of communication, not just young people. But yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, okay. So going back, we've so far talked about recap the past week, media, local spotlight, and of course, a spotlight on Pico Pixie, which do follow if that's your thing. I do have a mail club that I'm hoping to reach 5 subscribers pretty soon. That's our first landmark, but we will see, of course. Time will tell. But yeah, so if you like receiving mail in your mailbox and fun stuff, do check out the page and see if that's something you might like. And also, I'm popping up in the Bay Area occasionally in front of coffee shops selling various goods that you might also like keychains, zines, handmade goods, journals, stickers, and whatnot. But yeah. So moving forward for next week, I hope to have other guests, but if not, I think these solo episodes are great and fun. They're fun to do, they're fun to record. Definitely more listener stories in the future. But I also want to get a chisme in the pod. So if you have a good chisme, definitely do drop it in the voicemail box. And yeah, continue doing local spotlight. And of course, if any segments that you want to see, more media recaps, I don't know. Those videos do well, but I don't know. So drop that down below. Of course, thank you so much for listening and staying with us throughout the episode. If you've listened through thus far, thank you so much. If you'd like to continue listening, feel free to subscribe. Once again, I'm trying to reach 40 subscribers by the end of the week, but of course we will see. But yeah, leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see on the show, what you thought of the story. Pretty interesting story, huh? And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in for next week. Take care. Bye.